1987, I read a book that changed my life. It was a watershed moment. It's called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. Maybe you've read it too. If you haven't, you certainly should. Log on to Amazon today and buy it. And Gerber's theory in this book was that every business could run more profitably if they developed systems in their business so that the owner didn't have to do things twice. That allows the owner to do some work, leave behind instructions, we call doing it, documenting it, and then delegating it. This allows the owner of the firm and the top key managers to go to the next level of work, the bigger sale, the more complicated client, to spend time looking for joint ventures that'll introduce you to more potential customers. But we never get around to doing all this important stuff because we're always busy doing the little stuff, the small stuff. And that's the difference between the business owner that struggles along and makes $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 a year, and the business owner that makes $29,000 to $86,000 net per month. And remember, that's what the top 2% of all business owners do. But that's because they figured this out. And we're going to show you exactly how to build an operations manual that gets used. I've built a lot of them in the past. For years, I came up with flow charts, put them in color-coded 3-ring binders, put the binders on everybody's desk, and then I would come back 2 weeks later and they were right back to doing things the way they were always done. Well, that's a disaster. And I spent a lot of time and effort for nothing. So we created an operations manual as part of Delegation Magic so that this won't happen to you. Let's take a look at the screen. I'll show you exactly how this works. Now remember, the first thing is that all work generates paper. That is a given. Somebody comes into the down the hall and asks you to do something. You grab a little notepad and you make a note. If a customer walks in the door, you get an order blank. If a bill comes in the mail, you grab a blank check. And in the Delegation Magic system, those pages are named and assigned to your lowest paid staff person. They're supposed to do the work and then bump the work up, especially if there's anything they didn't understand how to do. Whenever anybody comes into work, they just click on their name and a list of today's tasks, and this is in real time, so this changes all day long. A list of tasks that you need to take care of pop up on their screen. And they simply click on the task, the document opens up, and then they can see this is how the page was named. Over here, they track, make notes and comments about the work. Any notes they're having about problems, if they need to ask somebody, they'll type this in before they save and send it off to someone else. Of course, all during the time we're working, the audit trail's running, so we have a record of who touched the page and how long it took them. In our office, everybody uses dual monitors, so we can put the document on one screen and the production software on the other, whether it's CAD/CAM or accounting or the customer relation software. It doesn't make any difference. The document's over here, and so that way my staff are rapidly running through work. But whenever one of my staff people run into something they can't do, they bump it up to the manager. And that's called management by exception. Now our goal here is to keep work off the top of the skill chain. And so whenever work comes up, we're going to do it. So if somebody sends us, come back to me. So if somebody sends us a difficult transaction, like let's say a Home Depot credit memo, you've heard me use this example before. The Home Depot credit memo comes in, the person that does my bookkeeping's never touched this before, we don't want them to guess, bump it up. So it comes up to me, I'm the manager, I know how to handle this. I don't run down the hall and have a learning moment. That's real important because if you have a learning moment, then two things occur. 2 months from now, they won't remember what you told them. 6 months from now, they're not going to be working for you anymore. And that learning moment was a total waste. What if we could create knowledge one time about running your business so the business knowledge is retained in a library, accessible at the moment of need? That way, you write instructions one time and never touch it again. Let's look at the screen. I'll show you how this works. What we do in our business is if a document gets up to me, I just click a button called record, and my screen turns into a little movie camera and starts recording the screen. And then my microphone turns on and I actually do the work. And I do the difficult Home Depot transaction, or I order the mailing list, or I take care of the bounce check. Whatever has to be done in the business, I do it one time. This is called building a system the way the boss wants it done. Then the next time that difficult transaction comes in, my document technician that you paid 15 cents reads the page and she says, this is a vendor and it's Home Depot and it's a credit memo. Well, as soon as she names the page, the system goes out and searches the database and says, hey, we've done this before. and a little green TV pops up on the screen. Now the reason for this is because now my lowest paid staff person can watch my 5-minute video and hear in my own voice while they're watching on screen exactly how I want this done. Now the knowledge is not in a 3-ring binder on the shelf. The knowledge doesn't have to be sorted down until we find what applies to this particular customer event. It's right on the screen at the moment that your staff person needs it. And this provides us with an on-the-fly operations manual. It doesn't take you any longer to create this than it does the 5 minutes to do the work one time. No writing checklist or sitting around trying to figure out how to phrase a paragraph in a long Word document that may never get read anyway. Just record a video of you doing it. The system is designed to record the videos and store them, and when it reads the video, it names it. Who's it from? A vendor, customer, employer, government. What is their name and what transaction took place? So that when that happens again, pop, there's the knowledge on exactly how to do it. This building and operations manual in your business is going to have an enormous impact. What's happened in my wife's company is that where she used to work till 1 o'clock in the morning, she's now down to working 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. And she only works on contact and communication with her staff, which is the most important, and with potential customers. Everything else just disappears. It's removed a lot of stress off her life. She's not trying to solve problems all day or putting out fires or jumping over the desk to solve some chaotic event. She runs a business, and you can too. Delegation Magic will give you the power to build an on-the-fly operations manual, and from now on, your life is going to be a lot easier.